Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Sully's Open Conversation, the show that aims to have an unfamiliar conversation in a familiar environment. Today I have taken the drive on a beautiful Tuesday to Tunbridge Wells to come and meet with Georgie. Welcome Georgie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you on actually. It's
Yeah.
lovely to see you. So I haven't seen Georgie in about 7 years?
Something like that, yeah.
6, 7 years?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, like I said, it's been a beautiful drive down. But I'll hand it over to Georgie to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Georgie. I think, we've known each other about 10, more than that, probably.
24 now, probably like 12 years.
Yeah,
12
yeah.
years?
So,
Crazy.
yeah, I used to live in Epsom near George. Things that I enjoy: fitness, podcasts, going on walks, especially when it's sunny like this, not in the rain. But yeah, I live in Tunbridge Wells with my girlfriend, and yeah, that's about it.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. And the first thing that we like to do to kick off each show is if you could name a positive experience that you've heard, seen, or done recently.
Yeah, so it's going to sound so weird. But on the weekend, I went forest bathing. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Never heard of it.
So it's basically like it's linked to like something Japanese, but it's basically like a mindfulness meditation kind of thing.
Wow.
So you go to a forest, you've got like a guide, and it's like, you walk through the forest, and then you have to lie down in this like grass and field and just do like a 30-minute meditation. But yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, lovely.
I felt so like zen after.
Yeah. Really chilled out and calm.
Yeah, and I think if anyone's just stressed in life, I completely switched off. Any issues that I was having, or like little problems, I just completely forgot about it.
Wow.
It was like a 3-hour kind of session.
How many people were in the group?
I think there was about 10 of us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Ashley's sister was like, do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, straight in there.
It's going to make me feel good, then 100%. But yeah, it was so good. We all said after that we just felt so relaxed and
lovely. Yeah. Peaceful.
Definitely recommend it.
Really nice. Yeah, that actually sounds lovely. I'll touch it up.
It's not just like for there as well. Like if you go on a walk in a park, you can kind of use the techniques that you're taught.
Yeah.
You really connect to all your senses, like in the meditation. So it's great.
Sight, sound. Yeah. Nice. Very nice.
So good.
So I suppose the most important question, obviously, is how have you been mentally recently?
I've been pretty good. Yeah, I think I've now got my little things that I do each day to keep me in like a good headspace.
Lovely. What are those?
So before work, I'll wake up at about 6:30, and I'll do a 45-minute workout.
Nice.
Literally here, because I know I won't go to the gym. If that alarm goes off and I have to walk to the gym,
it's not happening.
So yeah, I've just I'm subscribed to this app, Body by Kira. I don't know if you know it, but they do like live workouts at 7 a.m.
Right.
So you do it with a trainer, which makes it so much easier to
kind of like Peloton kind of thing. Where they've got the right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like having a PT when they're doing the workout with you at the
Amazing.
same, like in live time.
Yeah.
So I do that, and then I get out on my morning walk around the block.
Lovely.
Because I just feel so much better, like such a clear head
to start the day.
Yeah, because when you wake up and sometimes it's like you just think of, oh God, what have I got to do for work, or like what problem have I got at the minute?
Yeah.
If your alarm goes off, get up, get your workout gear on. You don't think about it.
You're straight in,
and then you're just straight into work after when you're ready. So that's my main thing. And I think after work, if it's sunny, I'll go on a little walk.
Yeah. I mean, today it's just absolutely stunning.
It's so nice.
Honestly, I was driving. I literally came off the M25 and I was driving down, and I think it took me a different way because there must have been traffic down there.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was driving through the wooded area, and it's just like this
best,
beautiful sunshine. It's just
nice.
stunning. Really, really
so
lovely.
Nice.
So the reason why I've actually come to see Georgie today is funnily enough, I think you connected with me on
We
LinkedIn.
connected on LinkedIn, yeah.
And I was like, I'd always had in my mind, because me and Georgie obviously knew each other when we were a lot younger.
Yeah.
And it just popped up, and I was like, that is really
What are the
strange. Like, that's the world.
chances?
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
the world working in very mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind kind of just talking about what you'd been through and
Yeah. So I think it was 2014 I was working it out. And I think it was that summer I started to feel a little bit low. I remember just not feeling kind of right.
Yeah.
And then in when was it? May. I think it was May. Can't remember. But my uncle committed suicide. And I think that's what really just triggered everything off, because it was kind of lurking in the background a little bit.
Of course. It's a really tough thing to handle as well.
Yeah. At that age, I think I was about 15.
Yeah.
So going through that at 15, it's obviously a lot, isn't it? And then I actually had to call my mum yesterday to ask her what I was kind of like, just from her perspective. Because when you're in that dark place, you don't really...
You're not registering a lot of things,
you don't really know how you're coming across or anything. You're just so in your own world. So yeah, and she just said she was out with her mate one time, and apparently I just called her just in tears, like hysterics, like, can you come home? And I was apparently just sat on my bed. I literally don't remember this. I think I've blacked out a lot of that year.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, and I was just sat on my bed, just like in hysterics, and she was like, "What's wrong? Like, what's happened?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I just feel so sad." And like that to me, I was like, "Oh my God, that's like, that as a mum, to see your daughter like that at 15, I think it's a lot, isn't it?" But yeah, and then I think my depression lasted about 2 years, I would say, as a whole. I would say the first year was probably just the worst, and then it just kind of started to get better. I was in therapy, but like I was saying to you earlier, the only reason I was doing it was for my mum and my family.
And not really understanding or knowing the benefits for yourself.
100%. And I was just kind of there. I wasn't applying anything that I was like told to do.
Yeah.
And I think with therapy, when you're in that headspace, it is so difficult, because like you in your head you're like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to get better.
You don't think you can, but it can get better.
Exactly. Like in your head, I was like, in my head, I remember it was like, well, I'm not going to be here, so what's the point of me doing this? And that is so sad. But I used to kind of write a diary, and I found it like a couple years ago.
No way.
And I'd completely forgotten that I wrote in it.
Really?
And it literally broke my heart reading it back. I was like, I literally can't read anymore.
It's just almost a different self, isn't it?
It's completely different. And like, obviously looking back, it's like, oh, how did I even get over that? But it's also like, oh, I'm so happy that I didn't like do anything stupid.
Persevered through the kind of tough times. And
and there was one point where I tried to have an overdose, so I went to hospital, but luckily it was okay. Millie actually caught me like mid.
So I think actually I remember seeing Millie because you were in hospital, and that was, again, when we were that age. It's like processing that kind of thing. It's really difficult, and I say this a lot, especially with people our age, that we had no education on it. Like we didn't actually understand like the full effects of.
Not at all.
We didn't understand what was going on in anyone's heads and thought process.
So much going on at that age, isn't it? Like
and we just, there is no outlet. There is and we weren't really told that there was a correct way of speaking about it or doing anything about it. Like you said, like you thought you weren't going to be here. Like what's the point in doing this therapy?
100%, yeah. But yeah, obviously, like now, and I feel so guilty about it, because obviously she's my twin. She was the same age as me. She had to see me go through that. So I think there's an element of if you're in that situation, I think therapy is probably good for that person as well, because like your
Yeah.
siblings or your family, because it is a traumatic
event,
kind of experience, isn't it? So
I don't certainly you obviously say you feel guilt, but guilt is I mean it wasn't totally
Yeah.
you. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can't blame yourself or have any kind of regrets and stuff, because
No.
that is what you thought in that moment was the right thing to do.
Yeah. And I think there's no point me kind of beating myself up about it now,
Yeah.
but yeah, I do apologise just to her sometimes and say sorry,
Because
it's a lot, but yeah, and then I stopped having therapy, and I don't really know what, like,
around what age would you have said? Kind of like 16, 17?
16, I would say, yeah. So I think I had it for a year, but I can't really I was trying to pinpoint what it was that really kind of got me out of it, because I don't think it was therapy. I think it was actually, so my dad forced me to do this lifeguarding course.
Right.
And I was like, oh, Dad, don't make me do this. Like, please, just don't. Like, I can't. But I was like, all right, I'll do it just to like make him happy. I did it, and then they offered me a job at the pool.
Right.
And I think that was when I started to kind of
there was a purpose.
Get a purpose in my life.
Yeah.
Because at that age, you go to school, come home,
and there's not much more to it, is
there?
Yeah, yeah.
So like, it kind of gave me a sense of like independence as well, because I was earning a bit of money. I was doing like a 4-hour shift a week, and then I started picking up more. And I think another thing is surrounding yourself in a different environment to what you're used to every day. So I was with these new people at work who I got on with so well. Like, they're like some of my best mates.
Amazing.
So I think also having a routine of just little things that you can do.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of probably what
brought you out.
Yeah.
It's funny because it sometimes I'm sure that therapy was helping, but obviously subconsciously it was more of a, that's kind of when I started psychotherapy, I was kind of in the same boat as you. I was literally like, what is the point? Like I'm not going to be here soon, so why am I even doing this? And then just like gradually throughout the weeks, you just start questioning yourself, and it's really weird to say it, but like questioning your own thought process and why you were thinking that way.
Yeah.
Because of course, like we were saying earlier, you have to want to get help in order to really see the benefits.
Better, don't you?
Yeah. You can't try and convince someone that is still in that all-consumed kind of stage of really not wanting any help and not wanting to kind of show any kind of support. But yeah, as the therapy went on, it was just, you just kind of like wake up suddenly, don't you?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I have this one moment. So were you ever on medication or anything like that?
Yeah. So yeah, I think I was for a bit. It was,
but it's more because therapy and medication is kind of like therapy is the long term support, whereas medication is obviously like it can allow you to cope, but obviously it can do it. Yeah, it can get you going. So the funniest thing is when I was in hospital, and before I went into hospital, I said to my parents, listen, if I'm doing that, I'm not taking medication. I want to do this myself. I'm not taking anything. Like, I'm fine. I can do this myself. And then obviously being in hospital, they prescribe you a medication after you've been diagnosed.
Yeah.
So you have no other choice, because you can't they literally stood there. So I started taking it, and they told me it would take like a week or so to really kick in. And I think it was only like 2 or 3 days later, I just remember sitting on the sofa, and just everything, I opened my eyes and everything was bright. Like everything actually had colour. Everything was like...
that doesn't sound like an antidepressant to me.
Honestly, it was wild. It was really wild, and I just had this energy that had been lacking for so long, and just wanting to actually be interested in things. And that kind of, I think, brought me out, and then got me to the stage where I was like, oh, okay, now I can do therapy. Now I can actually accept the help.
Yeah.
And then the progression just through therapy was wild. You just it's
I think with medication as well, I think it's so individual with how it affects you.
Definitely.
Because I think for me, I would take it and it would kind of get me through the day, but it didn't do anything where I was like, oh my God, like I want to get better. But I think by that time I was like in such a bad place, because I was speaking to mum, and apparently after school, like I would just come home. I used to go to Becca's house quite a lot. Shout out Becca, you're a real one. But like I would just come home, sleep, like close my door, shut my curtain, sleep, go eat dinner, come back. And my mum was so worried about me. She used to call Becca up at like 9 o'clock and be like, can you come round and just like have a sleepover with her, because she's just not in a good way. And she used to do that for me all the time. And
amazing.
I think having someone like that, I don't know if I would have really got through it. I think having a support
network is so crucial. Really crucial.
But at the time, obviously, it's like, oh, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
But it's doing a lot for you. So, yeah.
Creds to Becca.
Yeah, creds to Becca. Could have done without you.
Do you know, it's actually really funny because they were around last night, last week. They were around last week to watch the first episode.
Yeah.
She was like, "You seeing Georgie? Oh, she better shout me out."
Yeah, Becca, you're getting a major shout out. No, she was absolutely amazing. Like anytime, like that I needed her, she would be there. And I think, it's a lot to take on. Like
at that age, I mean, at any
well.
age, but it's honestly the work that people do in order to support people when they're in that kind of place, and it's so hard to understand because it's not like a physical injury where they've broken their leg and they're in a cast and you have to help them. Like you can't see this. Like it's
so hard, isn't it?
It's what's going on in there, and a lot of the time people haven't been through that kind of situation, so really can't understand it. I've always said in cases of kind of mental illness and mental health problems, in order to fully understand it, you're going to have to experience it yourself, and you can't 100%. I would never want anyone to do that, anyone to have that experience.
No. And I think that, but then I think the positive that I've really taken out of what went on is that if anyone close to me or anyone that wants to speak about it has those issues, I can really empathise and kind of actually give solid advice. Because, for example, my cousin, she's 18 or 19 now, but she's going through a bit of a rough patch as well. And she said to me, she's like, I just feel so like that I actually have someone, because you can just kind of relate and give your experiences and help just try and keep them afloat, I guess.
So and a really interesting question, because this is what I've kind of realised through my psychotherapy as well. Do you think that going through the changes, especially with like sexuality and things like that, and being at an all-girls school, especially with me at an all-boys school as well, did you feel that had a part to play in the way that you were feeling?
Do you know what? I don't know if it did. I mean, I think it must have, because I was so scared that people
wouldn't accept you for who you were.
Yeah, and just, I don't know, just kind of, when you're at an all-girls school, you just think like, oh God, do they think that I fancy them? And it's not. It's not.
That is the automatic response, isn't it?
I remember like, me and Lauren were having a sleepover, and one of her mates said to her, "Oh my God, are you not scared that she's going to try and like kiss you?" And it's like, that's not how it works. Like, if I was straight, you wouldn't say that about like a boy.
Yeah.
But I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think because I had such understanding friends as it is, I was really lucky in the sense that I came out to them and it wasn't like a big deal. But I think in an all boys school, I don't know for you.
Because it wasn't, so for me, it wasn't really, I hadn't realised kind of how I'd felt sexually. It was more, it was suppressing later on in life.
Right.
That because I'd had that experience at secondary school, it was like, I can't feel that way or think that way or be that way.
So when you were in secondary school, did you kind of have those thoughts, but you were just
Definitely.
kind of like,
I think every boy. I mean, I can't speak for every boy, but I think a lot of people do have those. Oh, am I gay?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
do I? And
Everyone
that.
does.
Yeah.
You're lying if you don't. Everyone's a little bit gay. Come on.
So in that sense, of course, I was having those thoughts growing up, but it wasn't until kind of late university years where I
Right.
really did start to experiment
Yeah.
and get to actually understand it. But it was through therapy that I then accepted it.
So, but were you kind of, when you start like at uni, were you kind of like,
So I had a girlfriend in second year of university, and then didn't really have any relationships or anything after that, and just kind of got on by myself, but
Yeah.
had only ever kind of slept with girls, to be honest.
yeah,
And then I think actually it was Christian. Christian really set the
Yeah.
bar for like everyone was so supportive of him coming out,
Yeah.
and it's such a massive thing. And I think I took confidence in the way that he
Yeah.
handled it
Yeah.
and carried himself.
yeah.
So then that like
Gave
I
you
used
kind
to
of a
ask him questions, like I used to
Yeah.
confide in him and just be
Yeah.
like, asked him questions like, what's it like how do you know, like how
Yeah.
do you go about it, kind of thing. And it was just that confidence that I needed, that reassurance that then allowed me to settle in my own mind, because I think that was definitely causing a lot of my, not a lot of it, but adding to the troubles.
Was it kind of adding to the anxiety around like,
Yeah.
what if?
What if?
Yeah.
Exactly. And like I knew the people around me weren't gonna have an adverse reaction.
Yeah.
But it's more society and how how misunderstanding they are.
Yeah.
And you've see all the horrible instances of like homophobia and
It's
racism,
awful.
and it's just, I think that just completely comes from a lack of understanding, and if you don't have that taught to people from a young age,
Yeah.
they're only ever going to believe what they are, a heterosexual dominant society that is in kind of programs and education and everything.
Yeah. And I think for me, I think the reason why I didn't find it so hard is because my auntie's gay.
Yeah.
So because I had seen that growing up, it was such a normal thing for me. And like my mum's got quite a few gay friends, and like I was really close with them. But I think if you're not surrounded by that, especially where we grew up in Surrey, in Epsom, it's not really not a lot of people come out. Like I think I was probably one of the first people, and I think I was the first person in my year to come out. And at the time, I didn't really think of it like that, but now I'm like, flipping it. That's actually like
the pioneer.
Yeah, I'm a pioneer.
It's a big move. Yeah. It really is, especially kind of at that age as well, because it's
so many opinions. Like everyone's got an opinion at that age about like everything, and it's. But I was thinking, like, I don't know if this is how you feel, but for guys, I don't know. I feel like it's a bit harder because I think obviously the toxic masculinity thing and all of that, but for me, like for girls, it is a little bit, I mean, I hate it, but it's a little bit sexualized. So like when you come out, like guys are like, oh my God, cool. But if a guy comes out, they're like, oh, like, some guys are like a bit like at arm's distance. But I don't know if that was kind of a thought in your head adding to your.
Yeah, certainly all boys school there was a lot of homophobia and stuff, because it's just a toxic masculine environment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Playing football is another one. It was actually yesterday the first
I saw that.
Blackpool footballer.
Yeah.
So Jake, I forget his name now. Jake's up, but he is now the only known.
That's nuts. That is
footballer
crazy to me.
in the entire of English UK, in the entire of UK, to come out as gay as like a professional footballer. And that kind of just tells a lot of the story.
It does, doesn't it?
And we were having a conversation in our boys chat last night, and just like, bloody good on him. Like that takes some serious guts.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I just hope he doesn't get abused. But they're all like, he will.
Yeah, 100%. In that football culture, I think with sport in general, like male sport, like there's the fans are just, it's like the racism, the homophobia, it's a common thing. So, and he obviously knows that, but I think it's so important that he's done that, because now so many more people have the guts to actually come out, and yeah, I think it's great. I saw that, it was really cool.
And it was shocking to see that he is literally the first one, and I think it's in like 30 years as well.
Yeah.
So imagine the guy 30 years ago.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's just
it's crazy, isn't it?
Wild. So in terms of, obviously you were saying that you'd been going on morning walks and stuff like that. How is it working from home for your like mental health and?
I think for me, because I'm a bit more of like a home bird, a bit more introverted, I think as long as I'm speaking to people through Zoom and things like that, and having that connection with people, I'm okay. But I think when I do go into the office, then I realise, oh wow, this is actually a lot better, because you get that kind of yeah. But in terms of my routine, I just prefer it so much more, because I have time to do my workout, do my morning walk, kind of have that work-life balance. I think for me that's like my number one priority, is that I need in life, is to be able to do those things. And I think if I had to get up at 6:30 every day and just get ready to go to work, sit on the train, come home, probably wouldn't have the energy to do any of those things. I think that probably would affect me quite a lot.
Yeah, take its toll.
So I think having flexibility as well is definitely good for me. But then I know a lot of people really struggle with working from home.
Yeah.
Their mental health. So I think it's definitely like
personal preference, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think because I did my masters basically all, I mean, it was kind of home and at uni, but I kind of got used to it. But I think people that have been at work in such a busy environment, going from that to just nothing, it's definitely been a struggle for people.
That's where my struggles really started, to be totally honest, because I was living that intense lifestyle, and then I was working on placement.
Right, yeah.
At the company that I was talking about.
Yeah.
So obviously that was like an hour and a half drive each way, which takes its toll anyway.
Yeah.
But it was that intense lifestyle, so I was having that in the day, long commute, work, long commute home, dinner, bed, and then going out 2 or 3 days in the weekend drinking.
Yeah.
It's just an unsustainable lifestyle. And then once that stopped and lockdown hit, I was furloughed, didn't have anything, didn't have that work.
Yeah, really,
and it just toppled on top of me. I was thinking about all the things that I had never had time to.
Yeah.
Never had time to.
Yeah, I think that's such a big thing, because when you're so busy all the time, you don't really have time to like reflect. And I think reflection is so important, but also it's, if you're sat with your thoughts for too long, you don't know what's real, and it's like, wow, I really need to. And that's where I started going on walks, because I was like, this, just bang a podcast on, you just kind of keep it moving. So I think just doing little things like that each day is really really important.
It's the little steps that make a big difference, I think. And it's really cool.
Going back to when you said you were going out drinking, do you think alcohol has like
I've said a lot of so Ollie, who's going to be on, I think he's the 4th week of releasing, it's Ollie Barton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you know him. So he was saying alcohol, and I've noticed it as well, alcohol is a depressant. It's a depressant, and a lot of people forget that.
Wine is the worst, honestly.
A lot of people forget that.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget that, and you go binge drinking for Friday, Saturday, and there's no wonder you're still hungover on a Monday or Tuesday morning, still feeling anxious.
Oh God, it's like a 2-day hangover, isn't it?
Yeah. I totally realised, and so I did dry Jan, and that reeled in my drinking a lot. So I don't feel as though I have to go absolutely over the edge, and just have as many drinks as possible.
Yeah.
I like to think that I've got a lot more control over it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, people do just forget, because actually alcohol's such classic in British culture of going out and having a drink. Like that is what
the social events are based around.
Yeah.
There isn't really, other than that forest bathing, I was well up for it, because I was like, yes, I don't have to there's no drinks involved. But for me, the next day I'm just so anxious, and it's like I've got to the point where it's like it's not worth it for me anymore. Like I would happily on a Friday night have a glass of wine, leave it at that, but going out drinking now, just and like clubbing and all of that, I'm just like I actually would rather put my mental health first before that social event or whatever.
Definitely. And being hungover takes you out your normal routine as well.
Yeah,
you're not going to get up and do a
100%.
workout in the morning, or you're not going to get up and go and do the walk.
Yeah.
But I sometimes do a walk because it actually makes me feel better when I'm hungover. But things like exercise and stuff, like I can't go to the gym if I'm like,
I'll be throwing up left, right, and centre. Like, no way.
I just definitely. So I've really realised, and I think alcohol comes hand in hand with other things that I just need to get rid of as well. Just doing silly things, and it's just
one thing leads to the other, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it sounds like it's the same for you, but I've got to the age and the point where it's like I've done all of that.
Done the partying, yeah.
I've been to uni. I've done all that. I feel quite lucky because a lot of my friends are kind of at the same point where, for example, Lauren, we never meet up and go drinking.
Mm-hmm.
We'll always meet up, go for a coffee, go for a walk.
Lovely. Things
like that. And I think that really helps with not binge drinking. And
you know, really, now that you've said that, it's made me realise that actually is a more genuine connection than actually
100%.
Just going out and drinking and getting pissed with your friends.
You can actually have a sober conversation and keep a conversation up than those drunk conversations.
Small chat that's
like
just over drinks.
I hate small talk. Like, honestly, like I honestly sound like I'm about 40 years old. Like how I'm talking, but I prefer having a smaller group of mates where I can actually meet up with them, chat to them about what's going on in my life, what's going on in their life, and not just be like, oh, like, do you want the next drink? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
there is definitely there's a hell of a lot of small talk when you're going out drinking because everyone's focused on one thing, and that's getting drunk. Obviously, you're having a good time, and yes, you're having good conversations, but there is never that depth to a conversation
100%.
where I think that you could get to actually talking about people's mental state and emotions and how they're actually really getting on.
Yeah, and I think obviously once in a while it's fine. Like if you like a couple of whatever, however many times you want to do it. But I think I used to do it every weekend, Friday and Saturday at uni. I would go out, and now it's just like I think when I do go out like that, I have a much better time because I'm like, right, this isn't.
It's not a normality. Yeah.
But then even still after that, I'm like, oh God, why did I do this? But I'm 24. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll get to the point where I'll stop. But I think that's alcohol definitely.
It's a massive and it, like we say, it's part of the culture, and that's why it goes over people's heads over why potentially they might be feeling awful mentally the next day. And that is exactly why.
100%.
Exactly why.
But people don't really realise it, do they? That it has such an effect on you. Because
it goes from having drinks and having fun to then having too many drinks, and
where do you draw the line? It's like when you're pissed, it's like I'm not going to think about
you plateau at a certain point as well, so you're constantly you're buying more drinks, but you're not getting any more drunk.
Exactly.
There's we were speaking earlier as well, which I'd quite like to touch on as well, because you're obviously speaking quite passionately about it, your diversity inclusion at work.
Yeah.
So if you just want to talk about the role in that. And
so at work I've kind of come up with an initiative around neurodiversity because at uni I was diagnosed with severe dyslexia. And I think, do you know what? I think it really comes from a place of just wanting to help people feel like they've kind of got a place. So I've kind of come up with this, and I do monthly calls with people that want to join on the programme that I'm on at work, just to kind of give feedback on how we can make the programme better for people, like new people that join. And then I've also joined the Pride Network, the committee for that. So I'm helping organise the Pride events at work,
Amazing.
Which is obviously so much fun. And just doing the D&I working group within my kind of team. But yeah, it's really good.
Smashing it.
Really good. Loving it. I should have started with that, shouldn't I?
So we're almost probably about time to finish.
Yeah.
So if there is one particular mindfulness technique that stands out for you and that you would recommend to the viewers, what would that be?
God, there's so many. I think for me personally, and I think it would be for everyone if they did it, but I think it is just having a bit of exercise, and getting out in nature and the fresh air, because it kind of takes you away from, I don't know, our generation, we're always stuck to our phone and just scrolling the whole time. If you just put your phone away, go on a walk and actually take in what's around you, it helps so much, because first of all, it gives you kind of a sense of accomplishment that you've done something before you've even started your work day. But second of all, I think it just clears your head a bit. You're not just glued to your phone, and
gives you time to think.
Yeah, and just having a routine of things that make you feel good. Just little things each day. It doesn't have to be massive, like huge things. Just little things, I think.
It's the more you take notice things that you actually like, even it's just tiny things that you like.
Yeah.
You've instantly got a mechanism there that can fight against anything that might be negative in your mind. Yeah,
and I think just writing down gratitudes. I did it for a bit. I need to actually get back into it, but that really helped me put things into perspective as well, because it could be tiny things like grateful for having legs that I can go out on a walk when I want, go to the shop. Then you're like, oh, this problem that I've got actually isn't that bad, because people might not be able to do that. So just being grateful and getting out in nature. It's great.
It's great.
It's great.
Georgie, thank you very much. It's so lovely to see you.
So lovely to see you.
And thank you all for listening and watching. We'll see you next time on Sully's Open Conversation.
Bye.
Goodbye.